Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Voice of Gore and TNT Daily Report. I'm Alice. Let's start today's report with the biggest news in China yesterday. The white paper titled Fighting COVID-19 China in Action was issued by State Council on June 7th. The publicity department of the CPC Central Committee claims that China is the victim of the virus and also contributes to the epidemic prevention. Therefore, China should be treated fairly and should not be blamed. It criticized foreign politicians for defaming China. The white paper divides the response to the epidemic into 5 phases. The first phase began at the end of last December when Wuhan city notified the discovery of unexplained pneumonia, and the government took various measures to curb the spread of the epidemic, including closing traffic in and out of Wuhan, delaying the resumption of work and classes after Spring Festival holiday, and expanding the acid test, etc. By mid-March, the daily cases outside Hubei province had been controlled in single digits. By early April, Wuhan was reopened and epidemic prevention and control became normal. The publicity department of the CPC Central Committee pointed out that China had notified the international community at the beginning of the epidemic, and some countries ignored the warning and caused the virus to spread. Now they want to shirk their responsibilities and speculate on the origin of China. Well, if only what the white paper said was true. Now let's turn to the Chinese expert Zhong Nanshan and see what he said again this time.
Zhong Nanshan stated that the CCP virus vaccine could be available as early as this fall. A CCP virus vaccine could be put into emergency use as early as this fall, China's top respiratory expert Zhong Nanshan said during a live medical event with China's tech giant Baidu on Saturday. Natural immunity takes 60 to 70% of a country's population to be infected by the CCP virus, which could cause a death toll of 30 to 40 million worldwide. Therefore, the solution is still massive vaccination, he said. However, many netizens in mainland China believe that this is another scam as Lianhua Qingwen capsules. China recorded 6 new confirmed cases of the CCP virus at the end of yesterday. 5 out of 6 cases were imported, involving the traveler arriving from abroad. The Chinese National Health Commission said on its website. There were no new confirmed cases reported in northeast China's Jilin province, local authorities said on Sunday. 3 districts in Jilin City downgraded their emergency responses starting Sunday, local authorities announced the same day. The total number of infections in China, where the virus first emerged late last year, stands at 83,030, with no new deaths reported. The death toll remained 4,634. U.S. intelligence criticized that Chinese Communist Party-controlled health authorities intentionally pushed out the incomplete data and the total number coming from the country were fake.
Sanya identified a CCP virus-positive individual originally from Hubei. On June 6, Hainan Province Health Commission announced that a 37-year-old woman with last name
all right.
was
So I'm not
confirmed to
certain
be
when
positive
exactly an
for
effective
CCP
vaccine will be
virus.
on the market, but what I do know is that the pandemic has never become severe. Now let's see what is happening in Hainan Province.
Earlier, she traveled from Tianmen, Hubei to Sanya, Hainan. The train this woman took passed through 4 provinces. A total of 25 people who sat in the same and neighboring 3 rows to her were quarantined. TNT Daily WeChat public account reported on the 6th that they received the aforementioned information from Hainan Province Health Commission. The confirmed case, 37-year-old woman who currently lives in Hubei Province, Tianmen City, Ganyi Town. She received nucleic acid testing at Tianmen People's Hospital on June 3rd. The result was negative. On June 5th, Wu went on a package tour to Sanya. She took Tianjin Airlines flight GS6512, departing from Wuhan at 19:15 and arriving in Sanya Phoenix International Airport at 21:40. She received nucleic acid testing after getting off the plane. On June 6 afternoon, Wu was confirmed positive by Sanya City Hospital, with no fever or cough. She was later quarantined at Sanya Central Hospital. Up till now, a total of 25 people who sat in the same row and 3 rows in front of and behind Wu on the plane were identified as close contacts and are being transferred to the quarantine hotel. It is still an ongoing process to identify the close contacts of Wu in Hubei, as well as the passengers of public transportation, including bus to airport, taxi, train D2270, and subway.
Okay, just when we think that people in mainland China have been suffered a lot from CCP virus, which is true, another shocking news has appeared in our site. We may have made a mistake for neglecting those Chinese sailors who are crying for help on the sea. Let's see what happened to them.
Back in April, there was a viral video on the internet of a crew from Zhoushan chanting with a banner begging the Zhoushan administration to let us in and return home. The local government didn't allow them to land, and they were forced to stay on board for extended periods. The media sources from mainland reported that more than 80,000 Chinese sailors were rejected to re-enter because of the CCP virus and the 14-day quarantine rule. They were unable to switch shifts, which caused some of the sailors to be on roster for months. Recently, another cry for help was put online for another Chinese crew in the Philippine Sea. It was posted on the social media because of the persistent rejection received from the Chinese embassy. They were stuck on the sea for 128 days with no protection equipment. In the midst of all the stress and pressure, a number of crew members all committed suicide by jumping into the ocean. The person posted this message claimed to be a member of the CCP themselves and had been begging to return home. They also mentioned that this message went to multiple authorities, including the Filipino embassy and Hong Kong news outlets, but had gone unreported. This similar incident happened back in April when sailors went on duty for months due to the quarantine rule. They had to be quarantined for 14 days prior to re-entry, which was a huge problem for their rosters, and some of them couldn't even apply for time off. Their minimum accommodation on shore caused enormous distress, which leads to signs of depression. The China Maritime Safety Administration promised to solve this problem, which this message clearly contradicts. On top of millions of sailors, there are also millions of Chinese citizens stuck in other countries because of the CCP narrative that the Chinese aboard are what caused the virus outbreak, thus reduced number of international flights. People have been criticizing that while other countries are trying to escort Chinese people, the CCP is trying its best to do the opposite.
Fingers crossed, and we sincerely wish that those sailors could go back to their warm home and families as soon as possible. Now moving on to the terrible economy in China and how CCP could issue a policy in the morning and withdraw it in the evening.
Following the premiere of the State Council of China's public praise of the roadside booth economy to promote employment, local governments responded positively as well. However, everything changed within 1 week when the publicity department of the Chinese Communist Party's Central Cyberspace Affairs Commission issued an immediate ban. Official media of China reports that the popularity of roadside booth economy has cooled since June 4th. The reason for the sudden ban is alleged to be that the term roadside booth economy harms government reputation. On June 4th, high officials of the Chinese media received the ban, strictly prohibiting the use of the term roadside booth economy. Mainland garment factory owner Mr. Chen expressed that roadside booths could solve unemployment partially, and that's why it was being promoted by many local governments. However, the official reports of the Chinese media were all lies. Due to the economic downturn and high unemployment rate, there were no businesses and consumptions at all. The ban not only involves reputation factors, but economic factors as well. Mainland private entrepreneur Mr. Chen claimed that with most of the businesses closing down in China, roadside booths would only accelerate the real estate to crash in China. With the majority of the government's income coming from real estate, they would mass produce bills to prevent real estate from crashing, which would lead to the depreciation of Chinese yuan. In reality, housing prices would decrease. After the popular promotion of roadside booths economy in mainland China, many shocking slogans have appeared, reminding people of campaign slogans such as family planning and great leap forward. Recklessly promoting roadside booths economy have only caused frequent chaos. Recently, a shop owner got in a fight with a booth owner in front of his shop, and a night market in Dalian City had to call a halt to its opening after causing traffic jams and sanitation issues.
The last piece of news for today is as sad and tragic as you may feel. A little girl in China may have dodged a bullet of CCP virus, yet another nightmare happened to her sadly.
4 male students in elementary school were not charged with the sexual assault of a female student due to the minor protection law. On May 27th, female student Xiaohua pseudonym was sexually assaulted by 4 boys in the elementary school in Lantian County, Shanxi Province. A statement issued by the local police station informed that the suspects were under the age of 14 and decided not to file the case. This conclusion has caused widespread controversy in mainland China. According to the reports from the mainland media, 4 boys aggressively pulled and dragged Xiaohua into the men's bathroom and then sexually abused her, and there were no teachers in the classroom. Later, a male teacher saw Xiaohua coming out of the men's bathroom. He inquired her and then proceeded to inform the school officials about the incident. Xiaohua's father called the police immediately after receiving the notice from the school and took Xiaohua home. On June 1st, the police station of Lantian County issued a statement claiming, quote, "The suspects are under the age of 14, which is under the age of criminal responsibility. Thus, the case is not filed." The head of Education Bureau in Lantian County announced that the very next day after the incident, the school officials were dismissed and the 4 boys were transferred to Gongdu School in Xi'an, which is allegedly a disciplinary probation school for minors who have engaged in unacceptable and criminal behaviors. This case has caused heated discussions and filled the public with indignation. Many people believe that the minor protection law seems to always protect the criminal, not the victim. Some even question the legality of this law. Is the minor protection law indulging in further wrongdoings and criminal acts against minors?
So it's simply outrageous to see that what happened, but it's just how messed up CCP's legal system is. And imagine 1.4 billion Chinese are under that system. Okay, that's all the news for today, and I apologize for the problem we had while broadcasting, and thank you for your support. See you next time.